Welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the March 6, 2018 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton, and we are going to talk about the planet Uranus today, which is always an interesting thing. You know, usually when I talk about Mercury, we get little glitches and funky things going on, and Uranus is a very intense energy, much more like a higher volume. Sorry, I just hit something on my printer. It sounds very loud to me. Anyway, it's a very intense energy of Mercury. Like if you took Mercury on steroids, it'd be Uranus. But it's a little bit more than just that. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about that in a minute after we get to what's going on in the sky today. So 10:51 when I did the snow chart. Let me see if I can update that real quick to right now, just so I can get most accurate. Okay, not much different. So Gemini rising 7 degrees. There are no planets in Gemini right now, and I'm not doing an asteroid. Let me just see. What the heck? Let's put some asteroids in there. See if there's anything. Nope, still nothing in Gemini. So we've got nothing in the first house. Doesn't mean nothing's happening. Just means that the energy of self is being expressed out through the sun and through Mercury. We've also got Cancer on the second house. Again, no planet Cancer, but of course Mars, our moon rules Cancer, so the moon's in Scorpio. And people with Cancer sun, any Cancer planets are going to be feeling the water energy right now, and there's still a lot of water energy in the charts. We've got Neptune, Sun, Chiron, and Venus in Pisces still, and we've got Jupiter and the Moon in Scorpio today, and the Moon just so happens to be right between my natal Moon and my natal Neptune, so it should be an interesting time. I'm probably, I would say, you know, looking from the outside in, I am much more in a psychologist state of mind, I would suppose, with that moon being right there. So, you know, I can cut to the heart of the matter for you today. So if you want to call in, I should probably promote that. If you want to call in, the number's 347-994-3365 and press 1 if you would like a reading. And then I know you want a reading. So, yeah, anyway, we've got, I'm just going to tell you what all is out there, and then we'll go back and do some aspects. So we've got Vesta, the asteroid, right next to Mars at 23 Sagittarius. So Vesta's at 21 Sag, and Mars is at 23. We've got Saturn in Capricorn at 7 degrees, Pluto at 20 Capricorn, the part of fortune, which of course, because we did our asteroids, we've also got the part of fortune, which is an Arabic part. It's a number that's derived from taking other mathematical equations from other planetary positions. And could I tell you exactly how to do that? No, not off the top of my head. I've looked it up in the past, but I don't often utilize that, so I did not memorize it. But if you want to look it up, it's an Arabic part, and there are many, many, many Arabic parts. And there can be parts for everything, and maybe I'll do a show on that. That would be kind of fun. We have the South Node at 14 Aquarius, part of Fortune's at 5 Aquarius, and it just means what it is. It's a part of Fortune, a fortune point in the chart. So if you've got that today, 5 degrees Aquarius, it's going to be a lucky day for you. And we've got Neptune, like I said, at 14 Pisces, Sun at 16 Pisces. So the Sun and Neptune have been in tandem for the last few days. And so that means idealization and a detachment from ego. So I'll get more into that in a minute. And then we've got Chiron at 27 degrees Pisces. That's an asteroid. And Chiron is 2 degrees off of Venus, which is women issues, feminine issues, wrapping up old stories. Chiron is about the wounded healer. So it is where we are feeling a deep wounding. Chiron and Venus near each other can mean females are leaving, and or we are having storylines that are increasing the incidence of woundedness from women. I'm going to touch on this just for a second before we move on to the last planet. Well, just last couple. So anyway, Neptune, I have 16-degree Chiron in Pisces. So right now the sun is on my Chiron. And so that's right where my wounding is. So there's, if you use me as an example, the sun is about ego issues and sense of self. And for me, that falls into my house of creativity, children. It's the 5th house, the Leo house. So it's about being in the spotlight on some level. It's about creativity, art, having children or around children. And it can be a wounding around children, which is kind of interesting because my Chiron is in trine to my son's Chiron, which splits my moon in Scorpio and my Neptune in Scorpio. So today I would say there's potential, like if I were reading my chart, there's a potential for some issues coming up around my son because the trine can be a difficult energy. So I'm going to keep a good thought today, but it does have to do with mothers and mom energy. And having the moon having the sun in Pisces is about ego and sense of self. And again, Neptune is water, emotion, sentimentality. What is the story from the past? So those are things that we're going to be seeing today and have been seeing since the beginning of the week. Now, Venus is women. 29 degrees Pisces is literally the ending of a story around women. Within 2 degrees of transiting Chiron, which is the wounding around having a woman do something to you or being a woman or expressing feminine energy or being receptive and psychic. It encompasses quite a lot of different areas. But it can be in the physical world the ending of a story around women that is in the news or in the spotlight or even in your personal life. So, any woman, so sisters, mothers, friends, etc. Then we have Mercury at 0 degrees Aries. Now, Venus is within, let me see here, about 25 minutes of going into Aries. And I think I may have mentioned where or what day that was going to happen. Just poked myself on the eye with my glasses. Last week I think I mentioned it. Let me see here. Today is the 6th. I'm just going to look it up real quick for you. Venus, where are you? 6th. Yeah, enters at 6:45 p.m. today. So that gives you an idea of how long 25 minutes of astrological time is for Venus. So 25 minutes is from 11 a.m. until 6:45, did I say? 6:45 p.m. Eastern, 3:45 Pacific. So we have this interesting energy where Mercury has just gone into Aries. Mercury went in, I think, yesterday, it was actually over last night and today, depending on which time zone you're in. So it went in 2:34 this morning into Aries and 11:34 p.m. last night Pacific. And that would also mean 7:34 a.m. in England. So Mercury going from Pisces last degrees, again, wrapping up the story psychologically or intellectually. It was very creative for Taurus, or for my mind just translated the top part of the glyph into Taurus, Mercury, because Mercury, if you're not familiar with the symbols, the top part of Mercury looks just like a Taurus symbol with the circle and the little horns, but it is Mercury. Anyway, so Mercury is about thought and how we express our thought. And in Pisces, Mercury is very quiet and works behind the scenes, is intuitive and receptive and nonverbal. In Aries, Mercury likes to start a fight. Mercury likes to speak their mind and act without thinking. And in other words, it's a physical energy. And of course, thought and communications aren't particularly physical, but this means that we are doing more aggressive speech. So we are using our words to wound or to forward our agenda. So you can see that kind of behavior coming in. And we will touch more on Mercury. I'm going to really probably talk fast because I have a lot of things to talk about, I suppose. So, and I also do want to get to the readings today. So I know sometimes I usually lately have only been missing maybe one at the end. So that's good. And today we have a few people online, but if you want to call in, you should be able to get on. I will try and make sure I can get everyone on. 347-994-3365. Okay, so Mercury is about to go retrograde on the 23rd of March, and Mercury gets all the way to 16 degrees of Aries, and then retrogrades, and he retrogrades all the way back to 4 degrees of Aries. That is on Friday. And so Friday we are at 4 degrees of Aries. What does that mean? That means between this coming Friday and when Mercury goes retrograde, that's the shadow period. So we will start to see a couple weeks of more aggressive male energy, a lot more trash talking, a lot more probably sports and sport events and emergency events or things that relate to Aries. So that would be anything masculine, emergency, fire, anything in the fire realm because it's a fire element. And also because Mercury, as you know, if you listen to the show, is my planet for the unexpected and accidents. So this can mean that there are unexpected fires. And right now in Florida, it's fairly clear and dry. We are a little bit low on our aquifers, and so, fires are going to happen. This is a prime time. We've got until the beginning of May before Mercury even gets back into an Earth sign. So, or not even then, 14th of May, Mercury finally gets there. And so he clears the shadow on the other side on the 4th of May. So from the 9th of March until the 4th of May, we are going to have Mercury in fire. For this coming 2 weeks, we're going to start really feeling more of that masculine, like aggression in what we say, what we think, how we think, and just again wanting to take action. Keep in mind that Mars is still in Sagittarius, and as Mercury gets closer to the late degrees, unfortunately it won't be for a little while, and by then I believe, Mars will be in Capricorn. So we're not going to actually have a conjunction of Mercury, or excuse me, a trine, an exact trine of Mercury to Mars, which depending on what's in your chart, I suppose is a good thing or a bad thing. But Mars is the ruler of Aries, and that's where Mercury is right now. So there will be, though, a lot of fiery energy because Mars is still in a fire sign. And again, Mars is at 23 degrees Sagittarius. And so having Mercury just enter Aries, it hasn't quite gotten into trine position. And again, it gets closer. So around the 16th, not even then, let me see here. Yeah, I would say for about a week and a half, we're going to have some pretty strong, sporty, what's the word? I'm thinking competitive behavior. That's just going to be the nature of what we're seeing. And then we do have Sun in Pisces. So, that ego nature is going to see some repercussions, especially since Mars is now square to Chiron and coming into square. Well, Venus will be gone before she's in the sign of square. But Venus will also be in Aries. So again, women acting more assertive, women speaking their mind, saying things that maybe aren't advancing individual or collective goals for women, because we will see some repercussions again through the squaring of energy to Pisces, and emotions are going to be triggered by what we're saying and what we're doing through this time. And then, of course, we have Mercury retrograding here on the 23rd, and I'm going to look it up just to get the exact time, because I say that I have a chart in the back, so I look at the chart and I'm like, okay, Mercury's retrograding, but it isn't the exact day. So the 22nd at 8:19 p.m. of March 22nd. So that's going to be really strong too. I'm going to look this one up on my ephemeris, because that's a lot of energy happening that day. And it's right near my daughter's birthday. Yay. So we've got Mars moving into Capricorn on the 18th. We have the moon in Aries on the 18th. We have Mercury getting ready to retrograde within 5 days at the 23rd. And we have Venus in Aries in the mid-range. And then what else was there? Was there something else? No, I think that's a lot. Oh, and the Sun goes into Aries on the 21st. So Sun, Moon in Aries, Mercury getting ready to retrograde in its shadow, and then Venus in Aries, Mars squaring Aries in Capricorn. So this is a time when we're going to see a conflict between what's going on with women, what's going on with men in a flux, in a change situation. Like we're changing our energy, which kind of dovetails into what I was going to talk about with Uranus going into Taurus, but also having Mars move into Capricorn, that accents 3 planets in Capricorn, and that's about structure. That's about wanting to control and feeling highly uncomfortable for not knowing what the future holds and how can we control the situation, all the while Capricorn squares Aries. So what's happening is action is starting to ramp up. I just got chills when I said that. The energies are starting to be stronger now. Like ever since, and I'm sorry if it triggers bad memories, it does for me, but ever since Parkland happened, we have collectively been in this energy of sentimentality and ramping up towards taking action. So there's a combination because we have the Pisces Aries energy. So as these planets that have been in Pisces move into Aries, they are going from feeling very deep in emotions and somewhat helpless and a very receptive energy, and moving into that strong, okay, I'm over it, now I'm going to do something about it. And I can tell you that point, that shift is going to be a change point for our society and for our systems and how we operate in our society. And we've already been feeling it, but I want to say this week is a really strong culmination, the next week and a half, a strong culmination of that shift. It concretizes it because we have Mercury moving into square with Saturn, which is the structure of things and our thought processes. And Venus will chase Mercury and get up with Mercury. I don't have time today to look that up because I have so much to say, but they are traveling together right now. So they tend to stay fairly close to each other. And then, of course, the retrograde is when Venus and Mercury will join back up. I guess I can't actually tell you when that's going to be because it's going to be actually maybe a couple times, but the first time or the most obvious is the 20th of March. So again, the 20th is the day that Sun moves into Aries. It's the day that Mercury and Venus join in Aries as well at 16 degrees. So the Aries energy is going to be kind of the focus along with some of that Capricorn energy, and then of course the Pluto in Capricorn, which is rules Scorpio, and we have Jupiter in Scorpio right now. So there's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of aggression. Jupiter in Scorpio is that energy of vengefulness and psychological awareness and really not wanting to take ownership for everybody else's stuff anymore because, quite honestly, Scorpio does take responsibility, and Pluto in Capricorn, the ruler of Scorpio, is very much really digging deep into what the mechanics of our government are, obviously, because that's in the news, but it's because of Pluto and Capricorn and Jupiter and Scorpio. So we've got so much going on, and quite honestly, looking at this chart, everything falls in half of the sky right now. From Scorpio to Taurus, everything is in that segment of the sky, and from Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, we only have some asteroids in the nodes, or the north node. So it's really very heavy in the transpersonal part of the chart, and that means how are we changing and moving as a collective, not necessarily the one-on-one. The one-on-one, interpersonal versus transpersonal, happens in our own individual charts. So if, like, say for me, for example, all these planets fall in the lower half of my chart, which is all my interpersonal side. So while it is the transpersonal, slow-moving sign, the planets that rule these are more slow-moving. Saturn, Uranus, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Uranus is in Aries. That's a slow-moving planet. They're all in that busy part of the chart. That all falls in my lower half, so my interpersonal segment, which is it's affecting major life changes for people who are flip-flop charts like mine, Scorpio rising, Sagittarius rising. Anybody who has any of those signs that the planets are in the bottom half of their chart, they're going to be really feeling major life changes going on. This is like I'm no longer the same person, and it's not so much changing career or people passing away per se. It is more changing who I am as a person, changing how I make money, changing how I think about my place in the world, which is Gemini. How is my place in my home situation and my children and my work, all of the things that we do with other people on a smaller scale in a family side, neighbors and friendships, things like that. So if you've got Aries to Taurus, you're going to feel a lot of that in that, or not Aries to Taurus, excuse me, Taurus to Scorpio. You're going to feel that in your life if that's actually in the top half of your chart. You're going to feel it more in the broad sense. So it's going to be career. It is going to be what kind of people you hang out with. Where do you want to go? What are your dreams? The broad, sweeping part of your life as opposed to the one-on-one. Okay, and so wrapping up back to Uranus. So Uranus is really on my mind a lot lately, and there was something that triggered it the other day. I keep hearing, well, first off, I live in Florida, okay? So I just look every couple of weeks, I look east, and there's another rocket going off. I've seen 2 of them in the last month. So I guess I can thank Elon Musk for that. And I'm pretty sure he's got really strong Aquarius in his chart. But Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. And Uranus, of course, is moving into Taurus come May 15th this year. And since we only have a couple months left before that happens, we are seeing a definite change in energy, a shift in clarity. And I don't know if you felt it, but I have definitely felt this energy change. And it's just really in Florida here, like I said, there's not as much rain. It's very clear blue skies. That's definitely connected to Aquarian energy and Uranus. So it's making it, the energy is more bright. It's clarity. It's cleaning things out of your environment that are bogging you down. It kind of goes hand in hand with Uranus and Pisces, or excuse me, Neptune and Pisces, and all the Piscean planets that we've been seeing. And also the Capricorn planets, which are about organizing and labeling. And then you move into the Pisces planets. Well, you go Aquarius and Pisces, but Pisces, where all the planets have been really having a moment of self-awareness and self-reflection, going, am I done with this? Do I have any sentimental attachment to it anymore? So Aquarius/Uranus bring us to a point in our lives where we are ready for change. We want change. Things are moving and we feel that movement. And when you have Mars moving into Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, Capricorn is the sign of stability and status quo. That energy is being challenged by what's going on in the sky, and specifically Mercury and Uranus right now. So we are feeling this real strong tidal wave of shift. And I mean, I hope you see it. I hope you notice it. But it's definitely been in the forefront of my mind for the last week. And actually, I feel really good because when we take away, this is something that I've realized, and also I have to say Uranus is the energy of channeling. If you're not familiar with what channeling is just opening yourself up in your thought processes to higher vibrational energy coming through. And, being that I believe in a broader sense of higher vibrating energy, we open ourselves up to understand things in a broader sense, that it comes in and guides us. And, you can call it angels, you can call it God, you can call it, spirit energy. It's all those things. It's everything. It's higher thinking, higher understanding, things that we're not aware of. And so when we channel, everybody channels. You channel when you color in a coloring book and you lose track of time. That's when you open your mind up somewhat in a trance state and you just kind of float away and get carried away. You're not recognizing linear time, the linearity of life on Earth. So we're in a higher open state when we channel. And there are people, of course, I've mentioned this a few times on my show, who actually put themselves purposely in that trance state and can bring through energy, conscious energy that speak through them, and we can get this information for our lives. And some of it is so amazing and so far beyond where we're thinking, but some of it is so grounded and makes so much sense that it's like, why didn't we think of this sooner? And so anyway, moving from the last degrees of Aries. Aries, again, it's ego. It is awareness of self. It is the self as we express out into the world and take our energy and move with it through space and time. We express in a physical way. We are assertive and can be aggressive, but we see power as the self. And this is the thinking where I can act on something so I can be powerful. And I can tell you Uranus likes power, but I guess there are a lot of planets who like power. Pluto's one, Saturn's one, Sun. But Uranus likes to have more of a power based in awareness. And so moving into Taurus, the awareness is going to come around systems that are associated with growth, with planting seeds, with seeds of ideas. It can be changes in education, changes in monetary systems. Like I've said, I know I've gone over this in the past, but part of why I'm saying this is because I think before when I've talked about it, it was somewhat theoretical. But in this last week, I feel it much more taking hold. And you're going to feel it as we get closer and closer to that shift in May. So it's going to be this clear-mindedness where you're going, wow, that just doesn't work for me anymore. And it's been creeping up on us since the end of last year, but it's just getting more and more strong. And like it's now, instead of I wish I could find time to do that, now it's like I can't live this way anymore. I have to do it. And that's the energy that I wanted to really engage you with and help you understand that it's really that that clarity of knowing, and that times are changing and we're not going to go over the same old and respond to it the same way. And as a Buddhist, that means that we've changed karma. We're changing how things are going to play out for our world and for society. That, I was born in the 60s when there was tremendous tumultuous energy coming through. Major changes coming into society. We have that again. And we kind of had some of that with Uranus squaring Pluto. In 2016, there was a direct square between Uranus and Pluto in Aries and Capricorn. But now that Uranus will be initiating his trip into Taurus, and of course, again, he goes back into Aries briefly, but later in this year, but is only I think it's like 4 months, so it's not very long. 4 or 5 months, and then he goes back into Taurus, and so we won't see this energy again for around 80 years. So it is a major shift of society. Uranus rules humanitarianism. It rules connectedness to social structures. Peace Corps comes to mind. So we are moving into a collective mindset, and I do want to say that I think the children born around the millennium are on the vanguard of this change and shift. And I'm so thrilled that they're coming in, and they're in their 20s, late teens now. And I just see such great things. And I know they're so maligned. And I'll tell you why they're maligned. They're maligned because they are changing the status quo. They are the ones who are bringing in a universal mindset. They are bringing in shift and change that seems far beyond what we're used to in the status quo world I've lived in for the last 50 plus years. So it is a wonderful, new, tremendous time of change, and I do see positive things coming in. I think that we do have our conflicts. I think that the conflicts, honestly, from this point on, to a great degree, are there to show us our own karma like a mirror. And in Buddhism, there's a concept called polishing the mirror. And I think that we're going to polish the mirror, and I'm very optimistic. I really am excited for this energy to come in, and it's probably Mars and Sagittarius because I have not had my caffeine today. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. I'm going to take a quickie break here, and before I take a break, if you have any questions of me, I'm loving Instagram. Go on Instagram and type in Astrologer Angel and follow me on Instagram, and let's start a conversation. If you have anything you want to know about, just shoot me a direct message there, and I'll let you know, or I'll talk about it on air. Anyway, so that's all I want to say about that. We'll talk to you in a second here. Let's see what I've got. Let's just take this break.
Jupiter conspire to get me. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right. 'Cause now I'm shining bright.
Oh, I just love that song. So I'm just going to tell you one of those songs. The first one was Climb to Alara by Kevin MacLeod, and the second one was Bright by Echo Smith, and that's a really cute, fun song, and it talks about astrology. So I'm all about that. Anyway, My name is Shelley Overton. You're listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. I am so jazzed because it is cool today and the sun is out. It is 71 degrees here in Orlando, and that just makes me so flippin' happy. I can't even tell you. Sorry, you can tell in my voice. I'm just like, "Wee." It's awesome. Anyway, first off, real quick, I have online I occasionally get emails from people who say they've tried to contact me or have waited multiple times and could not get through. And I'm sorry about that. But once in a while, they have a question and there's just really no way, because this time I had a listener in Spain and she's from America, but she couldn't get on to call in. So she sent her information and I told her I would do a reading for her. So since she did that, I'm going to give you a little of her information for those of you who want to follow along at home. But her name is Mary, and she was born November 4th, 1985 at 8:09 a.m. Eastern in Media, Media, Pennsylvania. So that gives her a 29 degrees Scorpio rising, Saturn at 28 in her 12th house, Mercury at 4 Sag in the first, Uranus at 16 in Sag, Neptune at 1 degree Capricorn, Jupiter in Aquarius, Mars in Libra at 4 degrees, Venus in Libra at 23, Moon at 26 Cancer, and Chiron at 13 Gemini, and her nodes are at 9 Scorpio and Taurus. So North Node in Taurus. So the question is, she wants to move back to America, and she wants to know if she should live in Pennsylvania, where her family is, or New York. So we're going to take a look at that. And I honestly have just developed this system of deciding areas of the country. And since Philadelphia and New York are fairly close together, it might not be really easy to tell. And I'll just tell you the system that I use. Since a chart starts out, the eastern horizon is the rising, and the opposite side of the chart is the western side. And then that would put the south side of the chart, or the south part geographically, is actually at the top of the chart, and the north is the bottom of the chart. So it kind of completely turns it upside down and backwards. And so what I do is I just kind of visualize the United States upside down, and that area would tell me kind of, let me see, rotate it. That's east and that's south. Southeast is the top left quadrant, and southwest is the right, northeast is the bottom left, and northwest is the bottom right. So for Mary's chart, we have Saturn in the bottom left part of the chart, which is the southeast. So that doesn't really help. Like, most of the planets in her chart are kind of going in that direction, but she's asking northeast. So Moon is 14 Scorpio, and Jupiter is at 23 in her chart, which means that she could move back there and she would feel comfortable. But I'm telling you, over the next year, Mary, you're going to probably want to move again. And honestly, your chart looks like it could be pretty good for someplace around like Atlanta or the southern states might be a little bit better for you. But I also know that you're having a little bit of difficulty with ideology and how you don't feel comfortable in that environment. And in a year, Jupiter will be on Uranus for you, and that is your soul group, and it's expansion, and it's also in your first house of self. And so that will bring you more in alignment with your soul group. And I do see that at the end of this year, Jupiter moves into your first house and then immediately into Sagittarius. And as we know, Sagittarius rules long distance travel and a change. So I would say at the end of this year, you are going to be changing. And I'd say because Jupiter hits your Saturn and Scorpio at the end of this year, there's a strong possibility that you are going to be seeing family, because that's the emotional thing. It's also the holidays. So there's no reason to keep reason out of an astrology reading for those of you listening who are, doing readings, because you can say, oh, well, yes, and at the end of the year, you're going to see family. Well, there's a likelihood that she's going to anyway, because that's the holiday season. And ironically, a lot of times I will see travel in charts as that approaches. So it's really interesting how that works out. But Jupiter is moving into Sagittarius, which means there's a lot in the next year from November through the next November, tremendous amount of change. And I think it's even almost to the point, in my view, of like an exodus shift around around selling homes, around real estate, around moving and transportation and education, spirituality growth, everything that is encompassing of Sagittarius. And for you specifically, Mary, Uranus falls in Sagittarius, which means new exciting adventures and ventures, and definitely coming into your own idea. So as far as New York or Philadelphia, I would personally say, even though Philadelphia is farther south, I mean, definitely there's a connection to family, and you will be connecting to them. But I think as time goes on, you're going to want your freedom. And New York is such a hustling, bustling, multicultural city, and I know Philadelphia probably is too. But I would say New York is more in alignment with what you're looking to do. But quite honestly, even someplace. I mean, you're in Spain now, so coming to America is a way for you. But even England, because there's a lot of Capricorn energy, and England, a Capricorn country, or potentially LA. So that's also some more options for you. But definitely, I see that you're probably going to even consider more another place in the. Let me see. What did I say here? Yeah, and then another area, kind of farther north. Did I say? I'm sorry. I'm not questioning myself. It's so confusing when you're looking at a chart and it doesn't have like the symbols for the compass on it. So I get a little confused trying to overlay it. But for those of you who are listening, you can go to astro.com and get an account and type in your birth information, and there is an option to do astrocartography. I think it's the travel option, and it will map out your chart across the whole country or the world, anywhere you want to be, and it'll show you the influences of moving to different places. So that's kind of a little benefit there. I really like that option too. Anyway, okay, so we're going to take some phone calls here, and I apologize, I'm a little congested today. So let me just call up my charts, and we'll take our first call. 313, how are you?
I'm great and great. How about yourself, ma'am?
Good. Who am I talking to?
Vaughn.
Hi, Vaughn. You sound so masculine. You got that deep voice today.
I like to think so.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's new with you?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I just called in to see what's good with you.
Yeah. Oh, see what's good with me? The weather.
Yes,
the weather is good with me.
Yeah. We got no snow up here in Detroit.
You do have
it's not
some?
sticking. Yeah, we
good.
have. So it's not sticking though. It's that snow. We had a big snow like a week ago, but it melted like 2-3 days later, and it snowed. We had big flakes a few seconds ago, but it's like
oh my goodness,
one of them snows that makes people panic because it's March.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I remember from Colorado, it'd be like, all of a sudden, if you haven't had snow in a while, you're like, wait a minute, how do you drive in this stuff? It's kind of crazy.
We had a nice snowy summer. We had a nice snowy winter though.
Yeah. I kind of miss it. I miss snow, but let me tell you, spring is my favorite time of year. And right now, I mean, our fall, we actually kind of get the leaves falling in the spring in Florida, which is really odd. I mean, all the leaves are now brown out there, and they've been all over my yard. They will fall as the new buds come out. So it's like having fall in spring, and then the weather is like spring. And winter is like about a month and a half long. And then the rest is just hot summer. It's like we're very scrambled with our weather here. But anyway, so I'm going to look at your chart. So your chart, all that Aries energy falls in your house of work and health. And you've got that Saturn in Aries. And you're a helper. I know we've talked about your career and stuff before, but have you ever considered being a fireman or doing something in emergency services?
No.
Wow. Well, I understand that. That's a tough field, isn't it? Or sales. Sales are also really good for you.
Now, sales I like, though.
Yeah,
Sales.
sales. Sales would be
Are
real
okay.
good if you want to do something like that. This next month is going to be off the hook for sales. For any of you Aries out there, sales is like bing. Yeah, you're much more outgoing and able to put into action what you're thinking. So, yeah, and even though, like I said, if you were listening at the beginning of the show, I was talking about the Aries energy can be a little
Right.
thoughtless, and they do. But
Right.
Mercury in Aries in the sixth house, which is ruled by Virgo,
Right.
really is more aware of what they say. Like they want to be assertive, but they understand the repercussions a little bit more because that house is about the detail. It's about being of service. So if
Right.
you do speak up more in the next month, you're going to be like, what can I do to help you? Now that I've said that, it's like people may not appreciate it still, but it's coming from a good place for you. So.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a problem I'm having actually lately.
Is it?
You just
Oh.
try to randomly help people out, and people
Yeah.
have a habit of calling me crazy. And it's not like
Oh, no.
I'm telling you nothing crazy. It's like I'm telling you the beauty of yourself, as I see it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then people turn around and grab me, call me crazy. I just, I'm not offended. I just stop trying to.
Do they really mean you're crazy, or do they like, you're crazy?
People,
Like that isn't true. They trying to
No,
deny
they
it?
think I'm crazy. I don't try to deny. I know when I'm speaking
No.
when I'm speaking. But when you see it, I see things a whole lot different than most other people, and that's kind of hard. I mean, I'm really by myself a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't have a equal that I walk around with on a regular basis.
Right.
You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
It's one of them deals. Like, look, you like it, I love it. I'm not upset with anybody.
Yeah, I think things could change, and they could change really quickly. And I don't know if you're seeing anyone, but when Uranus goes into Taurus in May, it's in your house of marriage and partnership, and you've already got Uranus. It went into Aries, or into your house of marriage and partnership when it was at 20 Aries. So it's been there for 6 degrees, which is still like a year and a half, and so it goes to a sign, and that rules love. So I think that there's a potential for a really unexpected, out of the blue relationship to come in for you.
Well, here's the thing. Now, I was seeing somebody, it was an on and off type of deal. And I just couldn't understand why we couldn't get it together, because of the feelings I had for it and all that kind of stuff, and just to me. But at the same token, I kind of knew. You know what I'm saying? I was like, something's just not. It wasn't when I
it's
saw
not clicking.
Yeah, just it's always something. I just think the stuff that we go through is just like silly. And then I laughed when I saw this. What I'm about to tell you, I was like, this was like maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Oh, okay. Was it just a short term?
No, actually, it's been like almost a year and a half.
Oh, okay, that's quite a while.
Yeah, so I'm like, I saw her on Facebook. I saw her on Facebook hooked up with somebody else after a concert, and I laughed.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what I'm getting at is like, I don't know if sometimes you have to let those things go, so those things that you're talking about will. Because actually, it was a tougher time. It's more of a thing with me being wanting to be like that assertive. I wouldn't want to cut you off like that. I feel guilty about that type of stuff.
Oh,
okay. Hey, you did that, so
Yeah.
I'm free and clear.
Yeah.
And I've tried to get out a lot more, but I've learned from that last. I've learned from that last experience. Though I wasn't.
Yeah.
I went through. I enjoyed being vulnerable.
Well,
I enjoy the vulnerable.
It's coming in. Venus goes into Taurus, and when Venus goes into Taurus, it's just before Uranus goes into Taurus. And so she's kind of paving the way. It's like you're starting to think, okay, what is it? Like not even thinking about what is it you like. I think you know what you like. Venus is going to be going up there through your house of marriage. And see, that starts at 20 Aries. So it's even going to start the end of this month, right around the 23rd of March. So
right around the retrograde.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is you're going to probably not be able to really communicate the way you want. Or this, again, what's probably going to happen is the retrograde is going to bring you more opportunity to talk to the last lady And that could also be someone, I mean, I'd have to look at the chart. I'm not going to give you a straight answer with her because it is the unexpected. Sounds like she's really affected for Uranus and your house of marriage, because the house of marriage is ruled by Venus also, because it's a Libra sign. I mean, Libra rules the seventh house, so that whole energy is there. And quite honestly, Uranus in that house and Libra is the ruler. It's an air energy, and air energy is multiples. Like, definitely Libra has, I mean, I've said this and I've realized this in the last couple of years. Libra will triangulate, so they'll bring another person in to feel comfortable in a relationship. So it doesn't necessarily mean that person's a threat. It just means there's another person, and it breaks up the energy a little bit and balances it for that Libra energy. So the fact that you have Uranus in your seventh house and it's a Libra house means that you're probably going to have people in your life who have multiple situations, or you will create that for yourself. It's just a sense of freedom. It brings you freedom. When it goes into Taurus, you're probably going to have more than one woman come in, especially at the end of this month into most of April. That's when Venus will be going in and transiting over Uranus, and she's kind of blazing the trail through Taurus, and then Uranus gets into Taurus and then says, oh, wow, okay, so here's what love is, and here's what we can do. And it's a very exciting, it turns up the energy around the partnership stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if you have opportunities to do something with housing. Are you looking into maybe flipping houses or something like that? Because that would be really great if you got with someone.
To move this weekend next door. But
you're going to move?
Yeah, we're moving next door. Me and my roommates. But, here's the funny thing, though. We were talking about that same thing you were just talking about, being multiple women.
Yeah.
But I was resistant to it. I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But now I'm in a situation like, hey, it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't,
Well, it isn't. It isn't. It isn't. It isn't. So what happens is, like, definitely when the planetary aspects, like especially Mercury, gets hold of stuff, you can try your best to get a hold of someone, and if they're not going to, like, if Mercury's involved, sometimes it's just like, nope, the planets don't align for the communication to happen.
Right.
But at the same time, you can say it's not you, but you're still expressing the energy, and you're still bringing in the situation, and that means you're the center point of what's happening. So it's still your environment. It's still about you.
I'm the one attracting it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just... And I think the thing more than anything that I like to tell people is that we live in the old status quo world, the world where everything was always a certain way and we understood how it was going to go. And then anything that didn't go that way, we saw as a problem and an upset. That's changing. That's like the past. Now the new norm is change. It's no longer going to be about status quo. It's about how are we going to change and keep moving. And it's about all the moving parts. So if you get used to the moving energy now, it won't be so disconcerting. I mean, really what happens for us right now, our psychology is getting upset when we resist the change. So, I mean, I'm talking to myself as much as anybody who's listening to this podcast. The change is happening. Change happens. There is no resisting it. And, the status quo no longer is the norm. It's going to be about change. It's going to be the new generation. It's going to be about new ideas and discussions about things and accepting. This is the key. Accepting everybody as valuable no matter what they're about. That person over there is living their reality, and they're on this earth trying to figure out, too, they're valuable. You're over there doing your thing, you're valuable. If it's multiple partners or trying to understand the dynamic of energy of multiple people in your life, so be it. That's what it's about. And don't resist it. Just go, hey, it's a time where I'm supposed to have freedom through dating multiple people. And when the planets align and like when Saturn hits Pluto, you'll probably get your wake up and this is the one. And until you feel like, this is the right person and that's like the totality of your being, what's wrong with seeing multiple people as long as you're clear that this is a situation where I like you, I'm going to date you, but you've got that person and I'm going to go see her. We're all kind of just going out enjoying our lives for the time being until something clicks and we want to be together more permanently. So it's okay. Just accept it for what it is for right now.
Can I say something to your audience?
Sure.
I'm going to tell you guys, ladies and gentlemen, anybody who's listening to this, that this woman is right on. Because the thing is, with me, like I said, I resisted it, but now I'm at that point like, why not?
There you go. There you go. It's like, you know what? Nobody says it has to be a certain way. Just make it your way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, why you keep doing that to yourself?
Exactly.
You know,
you're resisting what is.
Like, wait a minute. I've never actually done that. I look good single. You know what I'm saying? 50 never looked better.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Why not?
It's true.
You know, because I've actually started to stretch out here in Detroit. I like get to the I hate the clubs and stuff. I'll do a bar, but not the clubs. But I like to get to those situations like poetry nights and comedy shows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stuff that grown folk do. I'm like,
exactly. A little bit deeper, a little bit more cultured. That's cool. Well, Vaughn, I have to go. I've got to get to some other calls before my show wraps up. It's so good to talk to you again. And just go with the flow. Quit resisting it. It's good. It's all good. It's good talking to you. All right, take care.
Thank you much. Bye-bye.
Bye. You're welcome. Okay, let's go. 202. Hi, 202. How are you?
I can double check that.
Okay.
You did. Okay.
Hello, okay.
It's all right.
Are you there? Okay. Okay. Kay's a little busy,
but I think moving forward, if they want to.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
So to stay away from subscriptions, then we'll have to go back.
Kay, are you there? Kay, are you there?
No.
Okay. We're going to come back to Kay, and we're going to take a Skype call. Hi, how are you? 111. Who is this?
Hello.
Hi. Who is this?
Hi, this is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Have you called before?
Melissa?
Yeah. Have you called before?
First time.
Okay, great.
Let me just. Time.
Awesome. So what can first give me your birth information, and then we'll figure out all the rest. So what day, place, and time were you born?
So it's 12th of November, 1980.
Okay.
And it was Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Okay. And do you know what time?
Yeah, so 1:05 a.m.
Okay, 1:05?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. And I'm sorry, you said November 12th, 1980?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's see what we have. Do you have a single question for me?
No, mostly I would like you to tell me a bit what you can see regarding work, just because I'm at the end of my course. I did a PhD, and I have multiple interests. I can work with lots of things. I'm just a bit lost on which direction should I really invest. So anything that you can give me tips on which area should I focus. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, definitely. So you have a PhD. Wow. So you're really humanitarian in your chart. There's a ton of wanting to help people. You've got 4 planets in Libra, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. So that's the social worker of the zodiac. It's also the sign of beauty. And so if you were to get into aesthetics with your career, you could do that. Do you have any interest in, plastic surgery or anything like that?
I would be with a humanitarian. I did an undergrad in psychology. Then I went to public health, and my PhD was actually in education. But I work with developing countries and international
so that's right in line.
Development. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to just assume that all that Libra is expressing through social work, because that sounds like exactly what you just said. And then education, which is Neptune. Neptune is your dream, and Mars is how you take action. And a lot of times with career, where the Mars is the driving engine to what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And that's in Sagittarius, both of them. And that means you're going to help people in other countries or educational settings. So both of those are really wonderful. And it's in the House of Home and Family. So my guess is you've probably moved a lot in your life. It's the energy of wanting the wanderer, basically. So you go to different countries doing what you do. And Saturn right now is in the house of children, and it's in Capricorn. So I think that definitely that's going to push you towards doing something with children, and also the elderly. I mean, it's in the house of children, but it's in the sign of the elderly. So you have both children and the elderly coming together. And so it's about structure. It may be like water systems or transportation systems or things that you can help them with, within that culture. And honestly, that's pretty strong right now. It's just getting like maybe family structures or ways of helping them with their career within the setting of wherever they're at. Like their environmental setting is being more shored up, and the structure is going on for that. As Saturn gets closer and closer to 2020 and joining up with Pluto, that's a major life change. And quite honestly, it's right in alignment with doing your purpose on this earth and being where you need to be. So Jupiter goes into Sagittarius at the end of this year, into home and family, so that means a major move for you. Right now, it's right on your Uranus, which is also maybe starting up your own company or expressing what you need to do. It's in Scorpio. So Jupiter in Scorpio is about finding your passion for injustice. And you have natal Uranus and Sun in Scorpio and Mercury in Scorpio in the third house of communication. So a huge part of what you're doing has to do with expressing it out to the world and getting the word out. So that being said, is there any information you can give us for people who are listening who might want to find out more about what you're doing, or any kind of organization that's near and dear to your heart that you want to promote?
Well, no. So this is the thing. Like, I'm actually looking for jobs in charity sector or the government or things like that. But I just finished my PhD. I'm still at the end bit of the process, and I'm actually currently in Brazil. That's why I'm calling you from Skype.
Okay.
And I did my PhD in UK, and I do intend to go back because my partner is over there. But it's kind of everything still in the air. I don't really know where, if I'm going to.
You'll be going.
If I'm going to.
I would say. You can be on your way as early as March 18th when Mars gets into Capricorn. Like I said earlier in the show, Capricorn rules England, and when Mars gets into Capricorn, it'll be moving towards Saturn, and it'll join up with Saturn at the end of the end of March. So then the last 2 weeks of March are very strong about maybe going back to the UK. So I think that things are really going to start to work more for you. And then by the time Mars is, it's about career with Saturn. Saturn's in Capricorn, and Mars joins up with that at the end of this month. So it's really solidifying what you're going to do organizationally. That's also government. Saturn is government, Capricorn's government, and it also rules the UK. It's on your moon. So right now, Saturn's within 1 degree of your moon in Capricorn in the house of children. And, it's in the sign of the elderly. So either or. So think about that, elderly or children, whichever faction you're needed in. I think you're going to get a job probably no later than the end of April. But it looks like, if you're thinking of going back to England, that's the time you would do it. So it's coming up pretty quickly.
I'm visiting family in Brazil, so I'm trying to apply for jobs here, but it seems like it's harder. I just got the sense that I'm only going to get once I'm there. I don't know.
Well, I'm not saying that you can't go back to Brazil, but I think that you're probably going to go back to England for a period of time, and it might even be as long as a couple years. But I can tell you by the turn of the decade, so 2020, when Pluto goes into Aquarius, that goes into your house of work. And it's also, your house of work is ruled by Aquarius, which means you're going to be out there being the humanitarian that you want to be. But I think for the next couple years, especially with that Mars approaching Saturn and Saturn approaching Pluto, and they're all in Capricorn, that's about the structure you're talking about, the government you're talking about. And then in 2 years, seriously, the major shifts are happening humanitarian-wise come the 2020. And that's really, I think, when you're going to go and do all that stuff that you have in the vision. And when that happens, you'll have all your Libra energy in positive aspect to the Aquarian energy. You'll also have a sextile between your Neptune and your Mars as the planets shift into Aquarius. And quite honestly, Saturn goes into Aquarius right around 2020, and that will be in in sextile to your Sagittarius wanting to travel, wanting to be connected to other cultures. So I would say give it a couple of years of just being back and solid, and then you're going to have like this amazing thing open up for you in 2 years. Okay?
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. So more my vision or my objective in this life.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Jupiter moving into Sagittarius the end of this year moves into your house of home and family, which is another long distance move. So there could be either a move soon in March, April to England, and then another one somewhere else at the end of the year, or you may wait till the end of the year, but it's definitely a long distance move when Jupiter hits Sagittarius for you, which is November. Okay? November, December.
Great.
So,
thank you very much. I've been listening for you for a while, but I only called now.
Thanks for the feedback. Oh, well, go on iTunes and give it a review and let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, that's the end of the show. Believe it or not, I am sorry if I didn't get to you today, but I'm trying to do better. It's so hard because I just see so much in a chart, and it's hard to pare it down. And I love my listeners and callers so much. I just want to give them what I can give them. But anyway, I have had feedback saying you need to cut off callers and have more boundaries. So we'll see. I just want to get a lot of people helped. Anyway, call in early next week, and we'll try and get to you then. Thanks so much. Talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.